So we've got the camera running here. I'm also going to roll camera now. I'd like to just say a couple of words that filming prisoners of war, although Aidan is, I will say this as it is, a mercenary. There are protocols governing that as per the Geneva Convention. I shall be adhering not only to them, given that Aidan is, as I say, a mercenary, those don't necessarily apply, but because we're all good, nice, polite people here, we shall adhere to not only the protocols and the covenants of the Geneva Convention, but also this will be uploaded to YouTube, so the applicable YouTube guidance. Aidan, would just like to confirm that you're speaking of your own will. There's not going to be any pressure or anything like that. You are fed, watered. Basically, you agree to.
Yeah, I agreed to this. I asked for this.
So this is of your own will.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be any coercion. Your answers should be taken as your truthful representation of your actual position. There's going to be no exertion of any coercion or anything like that. Would like to pass on in the first case that your family have also been concerned about your sister Sharon Tyngate.
Yeah.
And so your mother, is it Angela?
Yeah, Angela.
Have also been very concerned about you. So that's been in the media a lot. From my side, I'd like to say that you're a lucky guy. I mean, this is basically a week in captivity, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say lucky, to say the least. Probably extremely lucky to be alive, considering the situation that happened in Mariupol.
I mean, really, basically, if you look at I don't know if you've seen the videos, I know you've been quite active online, but can you describe any of the videos you've seen of when Russian soldiers have been taken captive by Ukrainian soldiers and what's happened to them?
From the videos I've seen online of Russian soldiers being captured, Ukrainian soldiers haven't adhered to the Geneva Conventions.
Right.
There's been a lot of war crimes that have taken place, like from what I've seen. A lot of it's down to the Nazi groups like Azov Battalion and Right Sector, and a lot of nationalists as well. From what I can see.
So you understand, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We're talking about absolute barbarism. We're talking about videos of Russian soldiers, servicemen killed by stabbing them in the eyes, tortured, mutilated, slaughtered.
Yeah.
By your colleagues, your comrades. Aidan, I mean, come on.
I don't promote this. Like, if I ever saw anyone doing anything like that, I'd try to intervene, because first and foremost, like, just because it's the enemy, they shouldn't be treated any less than once they drop their rifle, and then that's them finished. And I think that people that do these crimes, they should be punished to the fullest extent. Which, with the Ukrainian military, I doubt they're going to even care about it.
I mean, we're talking about, I would say there's no words to describe people like that, but we're talking about Ukrainian soldiers. I'm going to use a few choice words to describe them: animals,
yeah.
Scumbags, barbarians. Your comrades. Aidan, what are we talking about here? How has this ended up that you're on that side?
I made a stupid choice. I easily misread the information and joined the wrong side.
You know, you've ever seen, I don't know if you've seen a sketch by Mitchell and Webb. They're dressed up in Nazi style uniforms.
Yeah, I've seen that.
On one side it says, "Are we the bad guys?"
Yeah, after Mariupol, because of my situation during the operation, like we were in Mariupol, it wasn't until this whole operation started that I started realizing to the extent of, like, the reality of, like, Ukraine.
I mean, you're a 28-year-old man from Nottingham. You came over. Can you give a little background as to how you came to join the Ukrainian forces? I believe it was at the 36th Marine.
Yeah, 1st Battalion, 36th Marine Brigade.
Mm-hmm. How you came to join them, when, and what motivated you to do that?
So I first came to Ukraine back in February 2018.
Uh-huh.
Previously, before that, I was in Syria, in Kurdistan, with the Kurds, and I had met someone who was previously in Ukraine, And before this point, I was pro-Russian, pro-Donbass. I'd like been following accounts such as yourself since the very beginning. And then when I was in Syria, I'd met this acquaintance who was also in Ukraine. Had a few political debates with him, and eventually, like, he managed to like tell me about like information and show me stuff, and then obviously a lot of it was like misleading information, so I was easily misled.
So you were at the time in your mid-20s, impressionable.
Yeah, impressionable was the
okay.
word.
And you ended up, but there comes a point, okay, then, there comes a point that now you've ended up where you are, and obviously I know you've appealed to the British government, and it's easy from where you are to renounce everything from the position that you've ended up in, but there comes a point that you must accept responsibility for the decisions that you made.
Of course, the responsibility must be accepted. For me though, I'm just saying, when this operation started, the days before it, I never agreed with Ukraine's decision to, if you remember, Russia recognized Donbass and Luhansk as independent.
Lugansk
as independent, and I'd always wanted it to just finish, and I thought, given the circumstances, Ukraine would do the appropriate choice, but they...
You've been serving for years in the Ukrainian army.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know, you're socially aware in terms of social media and all the rest of it. So in that time, you must have surely done some research, looked on Google, checked out the Azov battalion, for example.
Yeah.
You must have seen the signs that they wear, the wolf's angle. You must have worked out that these guys are Nazis.
Previously, we had never really worked closely with Azov, like up until we came to Mariupol. Like when a day in Mariupol was just the amount of destruction, and it was one of the videos I saw of one of the other journalists that was in Mariupol, where Azov were driving down the street, like using civilian buildings for cover, like while there's active fighting going on. It was then like I started to change my opinion. I've always thought they were like far right, but I tried to convince myself maybe it will change for the better. But especially after the base was taken, and like the amount of like Nazi paraphernalia that was like found there, like it's blatantly obvious, like they're just Nazis.
I'm going to give you the opportunity then, from Brit to Brit, in your own words, your relationship now, and what should people in the UK know, and how should they relate to the Azov battalion, which is a battalion of the Ukrainian Armed Forces.
Yeah. So for those unaware that don't follow the news or anything, Azov battalion basically was created in 2014, I believe. Its leader, I can't remember his name. Andrei Belinsky. He's connected to like very like far right like neo-Nazi organizations. He stepped away officially, but like if you look hard enough, you can see like he's actually still in control. The majority of the members,
they wear Nazi symbols.
Yeah,
they chant Nazi salutes.
They salutes, and the Azov,
the wolf's angel.
The wolf's single. They wear that proudly. A lot of the traditions they do is also traditions from like Nazi military traditions that they try to reenact.
So surely at some point you've got to where you are, where you're in captivity, but you are lucky to be alive. There are going to be people watching this from all over the UK. Okay, so you've got to where you are, but surely there were so many steps along the way that you could have, of your own will, said, look, I'm not being part of this, I'm not fighting with what are, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, I'm simply stating objective facts, I'm not fighting with Nazis.
Yeah, it's just, I just never came into contact with them until this situation came into play. I was hoping to like finish my contracts and go home, leave Ukraine with my wife, but this war happened because Ukraine doesn't want peace.
Okay. So along the way, you then obviously are in service, military service. Can you describe your duties and your experience of combat and what exactly, and honestly here, what exactly you've done as a military, as a serving member of the Ukrainian Armed Forces?
So for the past 3 years, first I was in 137th Battalion in 35th Brigade. I was in infantry for approximately five or 6 months roughly. I was gunner for Kepoveta. We didn't really do much because of situation on contact lines, so we rotated for a few months, and then I put a request in to transfer to the 36th Brigade.